Welcome back to another edition of Dogging It. I'm Molina Mike, and we got a pretty special guest as always in Mike Panozzo, our guest of honor. No, I'm kidding. It's really the guy below in Karim, the CEO of Predator Group. Karim, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing fine, and you?
Doing well, doing well. I'll tell you what, when Mike said I'm gonna reach out to Karim, my first response was good luck because doing things on the fly. I said I don't know if it'll work so well with Karim, especially with the time difference, but we appreciate you making
That's
an effort for us.
yeah,
Yeah,
we
no,
did.
it's good to have you on because there's so much to talk about with the event. We'll start a little bit with, today was the World Teams Finals, and yeah, had a couple great matches. Great Britain looked really strong, uh, beating up on Taipei, Chinese Taipei, which was kind of surprising how easily they got that done. And then Team Philippines needing a shootout to get by Germany after having a 2-0 lead, which led into the finals, which was all Team Philippines, and they're your world team champions for this year. Um, you got to see the action today. What was your thoughts, Karim?
Well, first off, it was really exciting. You could feel, you could put your finger on, feel the tension in the arena, um, I've never seen players so focused ever. It was quite good. It was quite a feat for me. And I mean, Jason against Carlo was one of the best match I've ever seen in my life. The kicks on the counter attack, which is like mind blowing.
Yeah,
This was quite impressive. I mean, Carlos' performance was unbelievable. I mean, but Team Britain played great. When you look at the first two sets, were 3-4, 3-4.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah. It was good. They
It's
were good matches, good head-to-head competition. Philippines, they beat Great Britain to knock them into the losers bracket a few days ago. So, I think it's safe to say they were the best team won the team tournament, in my opinion. I thought they played really well together. Rubelin, isn't the Rubelin of 10 years ago, but in the team event, she played really, really solid, I thought. I thought they were really the class of the field.
yeah, she played way better in the team event than she did in the
Yeah,
Women World Tennis Championships this week. There's no question about it. And I think she is the glue that keeps them together. The sense I got is, without asking them, is she felt like the team leader of the group. And they have their system. They know each other very well. They practice a lot together. They're like a family within the Philippines, the three of them, even though they're not related. And you could sense it. I could sense it.
yeah, they
Um,
really do play well together, and you can kind of see the respect that they have for her. You talk about that kind of leadership, and she kind of has that presence about her that she's kind of like holding
yeah, she
this
does.
together, and she's kind of running it. And you see them, she didn't play well at the World Games. She didn't play well in the World 10 Ball, but in these team events, this Philippine national pride things, she does really well. She did really well at the Sea Games this year as well, and the Philippines had a really strong showing there. So she really came. She came with it when she needed to, and yeah, she was terrific all weekend as far as the team play goes.
Yeah, yeah. There's no question about it. And she's a very, very generous player with her time, the mentoring she does in the Philippines, the time she spends with her fans at the venue. I noticed that too. And she's very considerate towards her fans, and she has all that. She's a bubble of positive energy on that. I loved watching her play.
Yeah, terrific.
Well, you said positive energy, but I really got that vibe watching them. And one thing that I took away from watching those three players was there wasn't a whole lot of micromanaging going on. There's a lot of trust. I mean, Rubelin's a world champion, Carlo's a world champion. Chua on paper may not have the resume, but everyone knows what kind of monster that he is. The chemistry seemed there, and when Jason didn't get out at 3-3, it just seemed like all the wind was taken out of the sails for Team Great Britain. I mean, they showed a little fight, but that was tough to swallow when Carlo just drilled that bank, man. I mean, that was unbelievable.
It was a big time
I
show.
mean, I mean, every defense that or roll that happened from Jason Shaw. I mean, Carroll came back with making the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like it was like an endless story. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, Mike and I will get into a little bit more of the play-by-play and these maybe a little bit later, because I know you've got a busy schedule, Karim. But let's jump into the event overall. I mean, we had a show yesterday, and I mentioned, I watched or been at a number of the Predator events. This to me was clearly the best event that you guys have run to date. It seemed like to me, from a production standpoint, from a level of delivery of the product, from the players, from the enthusiasm, from fans, things like that. Do you buy into that? And what made this? What got you to this next level?
Well, it's the same way we build Predator. It's one step at a time, Mike. It took building the right team. I mean, I provide the vision, right, to the team on some of the high-level strategy, but they need to design the product together with my input, but they're part of it. So we're making tweaks that are really working very well. We change how we're filming. We have a stronger social media team that's covering the event, and everybody's trying to figure out their position on. It's like ballet. It's like a great symphony. I don't know if you saw the opening ceremony with our Klagenfurt Orchestra that played Mozart throughout the evening. And it's the same. It just takes some time to adjust. And with all the awesome feedback we received from the fan, things we should improve, things that work well, and from our pro players. When I say our, is the ones who come to the Pro Billiard series. We're making adjustment on designing a superior product.
Did you bring a bigger team to here? It just seemed like there was a lot more going on, or a lot more involvement. Yeah. Was the team bigger, or are they just taking on bigger roles, or just finding their groove?
All three. We have a bigger team. We invested in great talent that joined us. We had 2 TV tables. That makes a big difference, right?
Great. That was great. Commentators and 2 tables. That was fantastic.
Yeah. We had a better rotation of commentators. I had issues with referees tied to the regional federation, but I'll spare you the details there. But they still worked out okay when they're tired at the end of the day. But no, the bigger team, better team, and working way better together. So and they're all inspired. We had a lot of events back to back. Little disappointments here and there, but they picked themselves back up and go at it. These guys are impressive. I mean, that our team impresses me. They find the energy to go at it, and I'm really, really proud of what they achieved this week.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just saying you should be proud. They did a great job.
Yeah,
outstanding.
Yeah. And again, it's the team on the, whether it's the guys at Predator Arena Light or the CSI team in the States, with all the support we get, and or Kozum, it's been great working together.
Yeah.
It was hard getting the teams to work. There's some strange things going on with the federations and promoters, so I had to make a few calls myself to make sure to national federation and to players to put teams together. And over the past month, and everybody was super responsive.
Good.
So that was great.
Having great quality of players is important to have fans going and tuning in. We saw a lot of really strong teams, like the Great Britain team, like the Filipino team. One team that maybe on paper wasn't as strong was the American team. Do you think that, as the event continues to grow over the next few years, that you'll get more buy-in from top players where they'll see this as a more prestigious event and want to strive for it?
You know the answer to that question.
I know, but I want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Karim.
The people told me, "Hey, Karim, why are you making shafts out of carbon? People would never buy carbon shafts. Those are junk, never gonna work. Revo is the biggest selling shaft on the planet. So is BK Rush, and actually, I think every one of our competitors now, our peers, our friends, are making shafts out of some kind of composite material, whether it's graphite or carbon. So same thing goes with events. Free access. Why do you do free access? Well, because we want to grow the sport. Why do you put events together that where you don't make money? Well, the goal here is not to make money. We make money selling products. That's how we live, and we reinvest in the sport. I mean, you have to water your plant and give it some sun, and it's going to grow. So on the teams, World Teams Championship is, for me, the most important event of our series. I always did better when I was a kid in team sports. That's my thing. And I love the pressure from a team. And I played individually pool. And those are two very different types of pressure. Playing long races versus short races and sets is a totally different pressure. And I love having that diversity. If I want, my vision is to see billiard go from having players to athletes. And that's the type of environment they need to evolve in to become athletes. And some of the pros don't buy into that, mostly some of the old school players. But I'm not too worried about that, Moina. What's important is the ones who showed up. One of the toughest teams to put together. Yeah, one of the toughest teams to put together on one end was Team USA. So I had the call with Tal. Hey, listen, we need to put a team together. Well, Karim, we're not sure. There's this small event in Texas. There's going to be a lot of players who want to go there because they want to play money or whatever. And I told him, listen, the vision here is to turn pool into a real sport. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Texas? No, I said, Karim, I'll go wherever you want me to go. I trust you. I believe in the vision. So I say, thanks, Tal. So don't worry about the guys who don't want to show up. Let them go gamble. Find me the future of pool. Build that team and give it 100%. You guys will win this week when you come because at least you learned something. You will help build the team of the future for USA. Right? And April played amazing in the teams. I was impressed by her play. Ted too, he was able to keep it together and put pressure on the other players.
Yeah, it's a great experience for him. To be able
to. They were
now. Yeah, sorry.
No, I was saying they're kind of free rolling because on paper they're going to be underdogs against any of those players. But to go and have that poise, and more importantly, the long game, like you're saying, with the experience, I think will pay dividends in the future for them. But it didn't. Besides Team USA, I was really surprised with the level of talent that I saw across the board when these teams were announced. And on top of that, you mentioned the Pro Billiard Series. The way that this format ran with the World Teams event, Karim, was something that I think a lot of players can go and buy into, the best of three or race to three and race to four on games. It was very compelling. It was very dynamic. It still had the weight of like the Pro Billiard Series, but it just seemed different for all of us, I think.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you watch really full matches? Did you watch more full matches in the race to nines? Alternate break in the woman side or the sets in the team?
The sets.
Yeah. Why?
It just from the beginning I was locked in because it was every game. Exactly. Every game was that much more important. Yeah, on the race to 9, I'll see at 5-5, and then I'll come and I'll catch the tail end of it.
Yeah,
it does like the beginning.
I watched the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was great. Team Austria was pretty impressive. Again, the mental side of the game was the shootout. It's all mental, right? I mean, that shootout is 100% mental. I mean, these guys can shoot when they're practicing, sink the 10, 100 times in a row, 200 times in a row, 300 times. But under that much pressure, you can't. I mean, that's how Austria got out, right? I mean, they shouldn't have lost shootouts. The other team that I thought was going to be in the last, the last carré in French, in the last 4, is Team Spain. On paper, they had one of the strongest, the strongest team, right? Spain, Austria. I mean, UK, man. Talking about tough team to put together was USA. UK was. I talked to Kelly. No, Karim, we're coming. Do you know who you want to play with? Oh, well, Darren and Jason. Let me call them right away. I'll let you know within a day. And they because you ask them, they love playing in a team environment.
Yeah, the teams was very compelling. And again, as Mike said, I think the kind of Pro Series type format really works well in team play. It just seemed like a different thing. Of course, it's longer into team play because it's race to 3, shootout at 2-2. But it made for some great action for sure, and the involvement of having the team play with a woman on each team really added another element to it. I thought it was really compelling stuff. One of the things that we've discussed in the last couple of days talking about this is in the future, or let me ask you this: what was your intent with running the women's World 10 ball and the teams at the same time? Why did you do that at the same time? And 2, do you plan on doing it the same way going forward, or would you consider breaking them up?
Well, I'm going to start with the last question. We're going to break them up next year.
Are you okay?
Well, however, for the first event, so we're going to break them up maybe 1-2 years, and then bring them back together after 3-4 years. So we're gonna figure out what works well. I think working together is great. It gives more importance to women pool, and it does need. It puts them at the center, and I saw it in how the men treated women during the team play, right? And this is important, Mike, because the way I saw it, the women had more pressure than the men during the matches in the team format, and having their own world championship in parallel help lifting them a little bit, their spirit, their energy, their importance, and it balances out with the egos of your two teammates.
Yeah, I like
egos and pool players.
The 2 events together. I like that. I liked having the 2 events together, to be honest with you. I thought it really did. Yeah. I thought it did help lift up the women's end of the event significantly. And that's part of the reason I asked, because I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people want to see them broken up, see them as different events. I like them together.
That's why we're going to see a little bit of both, right? It's like a nice 3-star Michelin 20-course, 15-course menu, Mike, with nice wine. You just let's separate them together, so you can enjoy different flavors. You appreciate them in a different way. For example, some people have been saying, "Oh, well, this format works. It advantages women it makes the woman player so much more important than any other." And that's not the case. Yeah, women play 2 matches, a man can play 2 matches.
Right.
One man may play 1. So it's not quite that. It's just because they're not used to it. And you notice what Pro Billiard Series has done. We built the first phase, which was the men's event. Then we added the women's event. If any people tell me, "Oh, you cannot find sponsor for women, it's not people are not going to watch them," well, our ratings are phenomenal. I don't have the final numbers for this week, but we exploded. I mean, we beat all of our records in viewership and engagement on the women during the women matches, but also during the team matches. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
And as to what's going to happen next, well, the World Teams Championship is moving to Puerto Rico next year. So it's going to be the week before Thanksgiving. So the World 10 Ball teams will be in Puerto Rico. And so that will allow us to have possibly 2 U.S. teams if the American players want to join. And I'm really proud of what
say that part again.
Team has
if they want to, if they want to join, they don't have to. They don't want to.
Yeah, they don't. They don't have to. They don't want to. I mean, that's okay. You know, it's a free world, right? At least.
But this is the contrast of it, though. This is what I love. I mean, you got a Filipino team who, from every event, whether it's on a teams or individually, who they play for their country first, and who take it as a sense of pride and honor in playing for their flag. And you know, I hope we get 2 stacked American teams, and I'm not just saying it with my American biasness over here. Surprisingly, it's coming from this side instead of coming from Panozzo for once. But no, I mean, having that opportunity is going to be great. I love the pairing along with the World 8 Ball or in Puerto Rico, because then you'll have just that many more players going in and attending that event as well. Very smart.
Yeah, but next year the World 8 Ball is moving away from Puerto Rico, so the World Championships is going to move. The World 8 Ball is going to Japan next year, so you know that's well, at least that's the plan. And I wanted to keep it in Puerto Rico, but my Japanese friends said, "No, Karim, we want it." So we're working on that right now together.
We've had a lot of discussion, speaking of the format, about would you consider adopting the same format you did for the teams into the Pro Series, making it a race 3 with a shootout at 2-2 instead of just 2 sets?
We're considering, English is my third language, but I'll say yes, we're considering everything, Mike. That will be a nice politically correct.
How strongly are you considering?
Yeah, if you were to gauge
the team is doing after, I think by Puerto Rico or by mid-December, we'll have the adjusted format for next year. So I don't know if we're gonna make it 3 sets, but we need to tweak some things, and we will. I mean, some of the pro players gave us some very, I need to balance it between how do I get make sure the event, the matches are exciting, that we bring sponsors from outside the industry,
right?
Not people like you and me. We know the game too well. We love the game. We play really good, and we want, we love what we saw between Jason and Carlo because of the skills. Other people who just are introduced to the game, who just watching and passing on, decide to stay. They need excitement. They want to see some of the drama. So I need to find the right balance, because at the end of the day, at the end of the event, we want to see the best player or the best team win. So yes, we're working on making a few adjustments. It's not a Karim decision. It's a team decision with our CSI partners and the whole Predator team. So we'll be making that decision soon. I think in December. But yes, you'll see some tweaks to the format for next year.
Will we see the same expanded coverage for the Pro Billiard Series, as far as like more tables being available to be viewed for the fans at home?
For next year, yes. The goal is we like the test we did to put a camera on every table. So we'll be expanding that. It's not going to happen in Michigan, not in Ohio, because of laws. I mean, it's too tight and logistically it's not really challenging. We're going to start with Puerto Rico on every event after that.
Well, I think what you guys did a great.
Thank you. As to the 2 TV tables, we do that with our majors. We'd like to do it with our majors. I don't know if we can logistically, but we will. So keep on doing it in Klagenfurt next year. Next year, we're coming back to Klagenfurt for the Women World 10 Ball Championships. Good. And we'll have in parallel a Pro Billiard Series Men Open. So the CT was super excited about the event. On all of Austria, the government, people in the sport ministry contacted our partners, and they're really happy with what we're doing. So we're coming back to Klagenfurt in a bigger way next year. Then Puerto Rico, we definitely want to run a 2 TV table scheme, and I'd love to see that in Vegas also. We had so many strong matches, but we have some constraints in size. But people have been bugging me. Hey, Karim, let's make it a field of 256 players in Vegas, please. It's tough, but we'll see what we can do. The Puerto Rico event is going to be really exciting. I'm really excited to see that. Even Michigan, actually, the women event has been full for a week and a half in Michigan. The event, the men's side, I think we have 72 people signed up, so we may end at 80. So please, guys, if you didn't sign up for the Michigan, the Cyberts Michigan Open, cyberts.com Michigan Open, please go ahead and do that right now. Show us some support. We'd appreciate it. Again, we don't make money on events, and I don't intend to. I want to see us grow, build the best events possible. Ohio has been full for like 2 months, or no, not 2 months. They say 4 or 5 weeks, and there's a wait list of 20 players. So, and we cannot add tables. We cannot grow the field. Puerto Rico, I think we posted. We didn't really do much advertising for it. There's already almost 60 players signed up already for Puerto Rico. And a lot of the players don't know if they're in the World 8 Ball Championship, right? So you have the Medalla Light Puerto Rico Open, 10 ball, and men and women in parallel. And then after that, that starts the 15th. And on the 19th, you have the World 8 Ball Championship. First 8 Ball Championship since Fujairah in, Mike, help me, 2012, was it?
8 ball.
He stopped it just because I remember he stopped it because of the Kevin Trudeau event, who put his dates at the same week. So the prince there stopped the event. You know, when you have conflicting events, usually, you know, you lose people, and that's what happened. And we're gonna have the World Junior Championship on that. I'm so proud of our juniors. We had a few American juniors in the event this week. The girls did awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing them compete in Puerto Rico. I mean, I have hope for our U.S. junior. Way better than 5 years ago. It's really impressive, and they're good kids too.
When's this World Junior Championship? When?
In Puerto Rico.
This November.
No, this November from the 19th to the 21st, I think.
So yeah,
the 18th to the 21st. So in Puerto Rico, we have 4 events, Molina, just to recap. The Pro Billiard Series Women, which is $75,000 in prize money. We have the Open, the men technically, means
10 ball,
but it's mostly men. 10 ball, Pro Billiard Series 10 ball, which is $100,000 prize money, and that will run between the 15th and the 18th. I can't say this. And on the 19th, we're going to kick in on the 18th the World Junior Championship, 9 ball.
9 ball World Junior Championship.
Yeah, the same one we ran last year in Austria. So Predator is organizing the 9 ball World Junior Championship every year for the coming years. So that's 3 events. And the 4th event is $250,000 prize money, which is the Men World 8 Ball Championships. 128 player field.
I think we got to get over to Puerto Rico. Panozzo is what it sounds like.
Yeah, it is. So between the 4 events, actually between the 3 events, because the juniors for philosophical reasons there is no prize money, but between the 3 events, it's plus we're going to have an amateur league event running in parallel, Las Vegas style, 40 tables, so you'll be able to play. Not that you're an amateur, Mike, but you're a league player, aren't you?
Well, let's talk about amateur players.
Molina.
If you're shooting the 9 ball and you're Jasmine, how are you hitting the 9 ball, Karim? I know you know the shot I'm talking about. How are you hitting it? Give us your insight.
Man, that 10 ball, the 10 ball scratch you're talking about?
Yeah, no, well, the 9 ball leading into the 10 ball scratch.
To get to the 10, she stunned it. Everybody else in the world would have rolled forward a foot.
Yeah, I think so. But I think she just wanted to play it as simple as possible. Same thing happened with the 10 ball. I'm surprised that she didn't play a 2 rail, but you know, when you're in the pit, under pressure,
right?
And the player with the most pressure during this event was Jasmine Ocean. The second was Albin, Mario, and the rest of the Austrian team. But Jasmine is
But Jasmine was really the face from the beginning. She's been on every advertisement and the world. It's a women's event. That pressure. I'll tell you what. Let's make it fun, Karim. When I see you out in Vegas in March, we'll set up the shot. We won't have any pressure, obviously, because we're not playing for anything. But we'll see if Karim can go and knock down those. Can go and run out. How about that?
Yeah, sure. Good luck.
Karim, we appreciate.
We can do it in my house when you come to Puerto Rico. You know, $500,000 in prize money in Puerto Rico.
I know where I'm staying. I know where I'm staying when I go down to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Well, as long as we got the camera rolling, then we're fine. Because I think everyone wants to go and see it, Karim. Could be wrong.
Yeah, Puerto Rico is gonna be fun, but yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on.
Actually, it's gonna be the same level of production that you see here. All the cameras, actually, if not higher. So our team, actually, our friends from Klagenfurt, Gerard and the Oceans, are helping us with Puerto Rico. It's really a team. We have awesome partner, guys. It's amazing the synergy. I feel so fortunate. Whether it's at CSI in the States, the group of referees, all the freelancers who are working with us, all my dealers, our dealers, the Predator dealers that are supporting us, and the pros. I know you guys talk about the pros that don't show up, but the pros that show up is amazing. I know I hear about federation issues or other promoters having issues with us, what we're doing. This is all good because one focus is the players who show up, players who play, and the competition this week was awesome. And that's why we play pool. You get my goal, our vision, I told you that before, is to inspire more people to play, inspire people to win, and bring innovation to our sport. Hence the format, man, woman, junior. You know what other world championship we're launching next year? The wheelchair. It will be in Puerto Rico.
Good.
We need to revive that. We need to show what our sport is about. My kids are less likely to have ADHD because they do play pool with me regularly. It doesn't mean we play for an hour, maybe 10 minutes, but they focus and they make those balls. And that's a good balance from iPhones and tablets and whatnot. And that's how we can make the world a better place, one pool game at a time.
Yeah.
Well, I like it, and I know the fans liked it. I know we all appreciate it. I really think you guys did a great job. It was fun watching from the house, and except for the time difference, that was the only thing, man. Because let me tell you, getting up at
2 o'clock in the morning.
the 3 a.m. start time was a little bit rough, Karim. So maybe at least on the last couple of days, maybe just extend it out a little bit where it's not a 9 a.m. Austrian start time.
Well, that's a good question, good point you bring. We changed it. It used to be later last year when we were in Austria. The reason we changed it because we have national TV, national newspaper coverage on national TV coverage, and they want to. If we want to, Moina, we cannot look at it only from a industry sponsor's perspective or player perspective, and your guys' perspective as far as billiard media. And that's what I love about what you guys are doing, because you're being patient with us. You ask me, why do you do this, Karim? Is there a reason, rather than just critiquing it? And here, the news around prime time 7-8.
Yeah. You have to hit the news cycle properly.
Yeah.
The signal, they do the cuts, highlights, and as a result, we're getting more and more TV time for billiards, for pool. And that's critical for Austria to find more sponsor and grow the event next year, test new things. Because I told you guys, the pay-per-view model will be the death of pool. So we go free, we increase our reach, think outside the box. We need to innovate and keep on inspiring more people to play pool with us, share that passion that we have for the game.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. I know it was last minute. We've already taken up 30 minutes of your evening over there, but you did a great job, Karim, and your whole team did, and they ought to get a lot of praise for it, because this was a fun event, and I can only imagine what the future is going to look like in the next few years for both events. It's
bright. I have a few interesting announcements over the next few weeks. So about on some new events we're going to be launching soon. So it'll be fun. So I'll give you a reason for.
We'll bring you on so you can announce them.
No problem. Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, Karim. We appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks
a lot, buddy.
I saw some nice messages from people who are watching. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the kind words.
Good comments.
Absolutely. Karim Belhaj, CEO of Predator Group, live from Austria. What a great event it was, and we're not just saying it because he was here. Mike and I have had a lot of great talks about the event over the last few days. Mike, we're still live. Mike, keep the glasses on, buddy. Let's break down the matches, Mike. Now that we can get into a little bit more of technical talk. It was the Philippines taking home the gold, but it wasn't without some highlights, starting with Chinese Taipei versus Great Britain. I know you saw the highlights. I didn't get to watch, Mike, so break it down for us.
Well, they, as Jason and Darren mentioned yesterday, the key to the match was the opening match, the women's singles. It was the key, it seemed to be the key to a lot of these matches, to get you that 1-0 lead, and that advantage you could gain with your woman partner. And Kelly took down the new world 10-ball champion 4-2, and that jump started them. And then Jason was set up to play singles twice. It's one thing that I like and I don't like about this format. It's pretty obvious when you have Jason, when you have Filler. Josh actually played doubles and singles. But if you have one of the top 2 or 3 players in the world, you're going to play him twice in singles, right? And that's what Jason did against Chinese Taipei, and he crushed Wu 4-0. And he mentioned yesterday he wanted a shot at Chang. In a
he
singles.
Called him out. He wanted it, Mike.
He called him out, and he got it because Kelly and Darren lost the doubles, so it got to a fourth match, and Jason drilled Chang 4-1. So at that point, Team Great Britain looked really good. I'm sure they were really comfortable and really confident going into the finals. And then you had Germany against the Philippines, and again, it looked good for the Philippines right out of the gate because Rubelin, beat Pia, and then Carlo beat Torsten, and it looked like, it was 2-0 Philippines, and it looked like that was going to be a runaway too, and Team Germany fought back. Josh and Pia, Josh, they won 4-0, and then Josh beat Johan Chua 4-0. So, all of a sudden it's 2-2 and you're going to a shootout. And
you got one of the straightest shooters on planet Earth, if not the straightest shooter on planet Earth,
and
on Team Germany.
But just like Team Great Britain against the Philippines, the Filipinos didn't miss a shot, and the Euros did. Pia and Josh came right out of the gate with their shots. But, Mark White mentioned it yesterday. The Filipinos on that spot shot, Carlo drills the ball.
Spearing it in.
He does not, roll that ball into the pocket. He fires it in. And Mark was right when he said, that's a dangerous way to do it because if you catch any part of the pocket,
you're jawing up, Mike, and spit it out.
But you know what? That's if you catch a part of the pocket. Carlo didn't, his shots weren't seeing any part of the sides of those packets. He was drilled, and Rubelin drilled it in too.
Trust me, I hit him that way too, Mike, and they never go in because I always hit everything else but the pocket. So I know.
Well, when Team South Texas gets in there, it'll be.
We're bringing the heat, Mike. We're bringing the heat. Trust me, and the humidity.
Yeah. But yeah, the Filipinos, man, they just they drill those spot shots, and had a couple misses. Torsten missed badly, which allowed Carlo to close it out with a second shot. So they technically they won 4-2 on shots. Team Germany didn't even shooting its last shot. So that was a great match. The finals, you got to see the finals. It was some really good action in the finals, right?
I tell you what, Mike, I mean, that was something when I saw the Final Four that I wanted to go and see. That was the matchup for me that just seemed the most like the sexy matchup on paper.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, just the revenge factor alone, because Team Philippines beat Team Great Britain in a shootout earlier on in the event. So you kind of thought, okay, they'll maybe get some revenge. We talked about it yesterday, Mike. It's like these Filipinos, man, 10 ball was their game. That's like if 10 ball had a home state or a home country, it would be in the Philippines, Mike, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I saw this coming up, and I was listening to the very beginning because I was still kind of half asleep during that first matchup, but the Philippines is up 1-0 in sets, and then I see Carlo versus Jason, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This is where it's going to go and get exciting. Ended up going 3-3. Jason looked smooth. Jason looked like butter. Jason looked clutch until he wasn't, and it was only from that transition going to that 9 ball when he happened to clip that 10. I don't know. The bank wasn't on. I know I saw some of the commentators saying, he's going to go and bank it in because he had a bank early on. Right. I think in that same game to go and start out the run. But it just looked like it was too close to the rail and a little bit too wide of an angle to where he couldn't go and stiffen it up. And to be honest with you, I don't think the safe was all that terrible because he laid the cue ball down on the rail pretty great, for my money. But Carlo is he's cold-blooded, man. That bank, the way that he hit it, I mean, it was
very reminiscent of Kazakis and Alcade in the World Pool Masters a couple of years ago. Having to duck on that ball at the end of the rack and push it up table. And
well, I don't know about that because Alex should have gone for that bank because it laid a lot different on that Kazakis bank than the way that bank did for Jason. And they were talking about like I said at the whenever he first rolled up on it, and I said, there's no way you cannot go and try that bank because you may end up just getting a double kiss is what it looked like. And I think Jason would agree. I don't think he did anything wrong, all things considered. I mean, you're supposed to get out there, and Jason Shaw does.
It was the same. It was the same the rack before that, though. When Carlo was up 3-2, he ran bad from the 7 to the 8. or from the 6 to the 7, and
It-
should have been out of that rack too. So they both had, in the last 2 racks, they both had a run out opportunity and found themselves in bad shape at the end of the rack. But when Carlo, when he speared that bank on the 9, he was pumped up. You don't see a lot of that out of Carlo Beato, but he was pumped up.
it's different for the Filipinos, Mike. That's the reason why. It just is.
It's different than a team game. You just have more of that adrenaline. You have more of that, fist pumping, because you don't get that many opportunities, and you're trying to hold up your end. And so, he was pretty jacked up after that. And then the final, the Scotch doubles with Chua and
I mean, like I said, the wind was taken out of their sails when Carlos spears that bank in the way he did. Because they were Team Great Britain was supposed to go and get a point there. The pressure's completely different, because then now you got a young Chua and Rubelin facing a team with Kelly and Darren, who have a lot of history and a lot of titles.
Hall of Famers,
so it's different when you're at 2-1 versus, you kind of, you got a few break points to fall back on. And to their credit, though, I mean, they sealed the deal. I mean, team, Darren and Kelly made some mistakes that they shouldn't have gone and made, and I'm sure they would go and admit as much. Especially that last game was just a little brutal, man, when he hit that 3 ball. But it made for a great final, Mike. I was not disappointed. We talked about it with Karim, but that format, man, I can get on board with it, Mike.
Yeah, it's a great format. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to like it if they do that to the series, the Pro Billiard series, because, now you're looking at 2-hour matches. Okay, you're looking at the possibility of
versus versus 90 minutes now.
Yeah, that's a big difference over a course. If you're doing a whole tournament like that, and plus now you've got the potential for four to 3 sets, right? Now you're at what 14, games apiece. That's a long race. 14 games apiece just to get to a shootout. The only reason I'm saying this is relative to Predator's business philosophy and marketing philosophy behind the whole series is engage fans who aren't already pool players, right? So you've got to give them exciting. You've got to get them fast. You got to give them something cool like the shootout. Okay, if you're doing 4 sets of 4 to 3 and it's 2 hours later before you get to a shootout, I don't know if that's fulfilling their business philosophy and marketing philosophy for what they want out of that series.
Well, but here's the other side of it, Mike, is that you gotta have big names on the marquee as well, right? Because it kind of has to go hand in hand. Predators got just as much leverage in that argument because it's their event as the players do, because the players have to go and show up for the fans to go and want to watch, right? They don't want to go and see bangers like you and I go and play Race to 4. But I could get on board. I think, some of the feedback, like we heard from Jason and Darren, where if maybe you had on that 3rd set, if it went hill on the number 3 set, then go to a shootout. That's something that the players can kind of get on board with.
Yeah, that would work. That would work for me more than a race to 3, because, like I said, I just think that and it's strictly, the players would love the race to 3, what they did for the team. I'm sure the players would prefer that. But I think it just flies in the face of what Predator's trying to accomplish with their series. So there's got to be someplace in between. And if it's 3 sets and a shootout, if the 3rd set goes to 4 to 4, then I could live with that.
But this is what I love about these guys that are behind it, is that they're still open to adjusting. They're still open to feedback. They genuinely do go and take it from the players, and have been since the very beginning. I remember hearing about it in Vegas, about even, and not just because you're going to take what Predator players go and say with the grain of salt, right? Because that's their, Karim is their boss, to an extent. And but to go and get the feedback from the non-Predator players and take that into consideration, I think is massive, and kudos to them. you know, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that there's a middle ground to be had there where it can still be as engaging and exciting from the beginning, and it's not going to be as long. But then you also heard like what Jason said. You know, we want more. I want to play more than just one match a day. You know, so where they can go and get their table time and get their money's worth there as well, Mike.
Well, they would get that. I mean, the World Team Event's just going to be the way it is. I mean, it was tied in with the World 10 Ball. So
Yeah.
I think as the World Team Event gets split up next year into its own event, they'll be playing more than one event, more than one match a day, and certainly in the Pro Series, they'd be playing more than one match a day. So they'd get their table time.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, like just in the sense of if it was a little bit extended, you know.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's got to go beyond. It's got to go beyond the two sets that they do now. Has to. Whether they add three, a third set, or make it a race to three, that'll be where they're going to have to find their sweet spot and determine what suits the player and them at the same time.
What do you think the future holds for these events, Mike?
I think that they're making all the moves in the right direction, and the money continues to be good. So I think that the other players would be silly not to be dialed in. Again, a lot of it's going to come down to scheduling. We didn't want to get into Matchroom versus Predator with Karim, but the fact of the matter is that
we got Mark White for that.
the success of these events is in great part going to be affected by what else is going on around the world, right? So if Predator can have its events in Asia at the same time Matchroom has an Asian Open, okay, now there's at least enough synergy in timing to keep people in the same part of the world at the same time. But if Predator is having something in Austria, and a week later Matchroom is in, or overlapping Matchroom is in Asia, then bigger problem, right? So there's got
that would mean they'd have to work together to some extent, like coordinating.
100%. That they've got to, at least to the standpoint of, okay, let's be in the same continent at the same time. That would make a huge difference.
When you say it like that, Mike, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, it doesn't sound like it would be that hard, but there's constraints that both of them are under that we don't know about, that they have to follow with and things like that. So, but I think you get to that point where you get some of that, crossover. Now they've got to be willing to work together. I mean, is Matchroom?
That's a whole other argument, Mike. That's a whole other thing.
Willing to, know that it's going to have a 9-ball event in Atlantic City, and 10 days later there's going to be a 10-ball event, and are they willing to help Predator and vice versa fill each other's fields? That's something you would hope that they could work out, because it's to everybody's benefit. The players and fans, for sure.
What do you think the players would want to have happen?
I think if the format for the Predator series could be to the liking of the players would love to have the events in the general same vicinity, general same time, and so they can be playing all the time. Don't you think?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
I think that even if maybe they weren't necessarily 100% sold on that format, I think that they would still want to go and have them around the same time, just to get a better bang for your buck when it comes to traveling and what part of the world you're going to go and be in. You don't want to go from Europe to the US and the US to Asia and just back and forth and back and forth.
Exactly.
If they can go and figure out a way to work together, it would be to the benefit of the players, right? I like the direction that they're going in. It would be great if they would be able to. I know it's tough because there's a lot of issues there between those promoters, but nevertheless, I think that this event, primarily the world teams and the resurrection of the women's world 10 ball, this is something that I think a lot of people can go and strive for, Mike. Like I want to be the best player or in the top 3 of my country in order to make this event in the prestige it's going to come along with representing my country. You know? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it'll ever be, the World Cup has a long history, but having a woman being a part of this world teams is different for me.
Yeah,
I
it's
love,
completely different. Makes it it completely separates itself from World Cup.
but in a good way.
Yeah,
I like it though.
completely separates itself from Mosconi Cup. It's a
Right.
different type of team format. It introduces the women in there. I think it's a great event, and I want to see this event as much as anything catch that stride and be one of those marquee events that people talk about months and months in advance.
Well, I tell you one place that we'll be talking about it for the next 12 months, and that'll be in the Philippines because I guarantee you they're gonna get a lot of love, those three players,
Yeah,
whenever they get back home. Rubelin, we really haven't seen her since in the last, I don't know, 5 years probably,
yeah, sure.
really go and compete on the world stage. So to go and see her back was great, even though she didn't go and defend her title. This is certainly quite an accomplishment, and for all three players, even Chua for that matter. Him and Filler got a little bit of a history. I remember way back when going to the international and being up late night into that open arena and seeing Chua and Filler going. And this is before Filler was really Filler, right?
Right.
But they were gambling 10 ball, and Chua was giving them everything that he could go and give, and
Good player.
winning. Yeah, I think they split sets if I remember right. But anyway, I I'm enjoying it, Mike. The only thing for me is just that time difference was brutal, but I understand. Hearing from Karim, it makes a lot more sense now than it did at waking up at 3 a.m. to try to sweat a match.
Yeah, no, listen, I get it. I get it. If you're trying to create marketing opportunities and get other people to see the sport, you've got to get into local newspapers, on local news, regional news, things like that. So you've got to hit that news cycle. It used to drive me nuts when I first started working. I'd go to these tournaments, and these big majors would always finish at midnight on a Sunday night, and I thought, you are never going to get any local press finishing tournaments on a Sunday night at midnight. Forget it. It should finish at Saturday at 5 or 6 o'clock. Then you've got an opportunity. So I do.
Oh, even at midnight is a dream now because I've been up at 3 a.m. still finishing up a
Well, I'm
tournament.
talking
It's
about local
unbelievable.
tournament. I mean, a tournament in the States would end at midnight on a Sunday. I respect that they have that hat on when they're thinking about the scheduling and things like that. It's not all about everybody's got to kind of take a hit. The players got to get up a little bit earlier. That whatever, if you want to get that extra exposure, right? So,
But it's playing the long game, so I mean they got to get on board.
right. Yeah, playing
Predators
well.
looking at it with a different vision, and Matchroom for that matter, because I like those single elimination from 16 or 32, whatever may be on. It makes it feel more like a proper sport.
Yep.
For my money, Mike.
Yep.
You look at the NFL, you look at tennis, you look at wherever, you got one bullet in the chamber and you better make the best of it.
Yeah.
And I think that if that format were to go and tweak some or even stay where it's a little bit longer of an event, players could go and get on board with it. I just do. I would like to go and see how I wouldn't be mad if it was, even like a round robin to go and start off with, where they're in groups. But
yeah,
I like
however you want to deal up a qualification to get players enough opportunity, enough table time, whatever, to get to your final 16 single elimination. Yeah, that however you want to do that, that's fine with me as long as it's equitable.
I think they did a great job in getting people back excited about the world teams where players can now go and say, man, I want to make it in that tournament.
Yeah.
I want to be on that team. And I think you're going to get a lot more countries going and vying for spots. Just looking over here, I don't see a lot of Latin American countries, and there's a few Latin American players that I'm sure would love to go and fight to be one of the 24 teams. So whatever it takes, man, I can't wait to go and see if China ever opens back up to go and see a Chinese team be back on there.
Team. Where the hell's the Italian team?
Who? The Italian team.
Yeah.
Are they going to go and make waves? Carreri and Candela? Huh? Is that they're going to go and shock the world, Mike? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
We gotta.
Oh, Panozzo. Hello. No, now I get it. Now I get it.
We gotta get some fatherland people in there.
Well, good luck, Mike. We can go and have it last longer.
Well, I might make the team.
That one. Now that's something I could get on board with paying pay-per-view to go and watch. No, but listen, we did a lot with this event. Just recapping whenever we did. I've enjoyed it, Mike. I loved seeing the class of players that really signed up or were invited, whether it's the women's or the teams. And I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna miss it, man. I'm gonna be looking forward to next year. I think all these little like nuggets of things that Predator has on the radar is only gonna help grow the sport, get bigger and bigger and bigger. And if they do it to this kind of standard with some consistency, I think it's something that more fans could go and tune into, Mike.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, yeah, thanks to you, buddy, for getting Karim on, because it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened without you. Mike shoots me a message, and literally it was like, I'm gonna hit up Karim and see if he wants to come on. And I said, all right, buddy, yeah, good luck with that. So, and to my surprise, he said, well, how much time do we have, and when can we get the show off? So
it's always great for him to come on. He's always a busy guy. He's always got meetings. I mean, he's one of the hardest working guys there is. But I felt like he would probably be up for talking about this event because it did go so well and show so much promise, and there was a lot of energy and enthusiasm and momentum going forward. So yeah, it was really nice of him to jump on.
And to his credit, though, like he's always been willing to take the hard questions, and whenever tournaments are tough, and even in private, he's told me multiple times, like, whatever you want to ask me, go and ask me. I don't care. We'll answer it and we'll address it. So yeah, I got a lot of respect for guys like that, Mike. I do. And so tomorrow, Panozzo and I are going to be on. We got Laley on finally for like the fourth. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. We've been trying to get Alex Laley on for about a week now. Yeah. Scheduling conflicts and traveling and a few other bumps in the road.
It'll be great tomorrow. You'll want to tune in tomorrow because Alex, we're gonna run through all the possibilities for Team Europe.
I'm ready, Mike. I'm ready. Trust me. I'm ready.
Put him on the hot seat to discuss the pros and cons of various players who may or may not get onto this team.
Listen, this is the one I'm really looking forward to. I want to, because people don't know this, but Laley is a one pocket connoisseur. He's a really big one pocket fan. So I'm looking forward to getting his input on this matchup in particular, more than I am these European players. I mean, like from a personal standpoint, I want to hear what Alex has to say about this one. But everybody and anybody that you can go and think of, we're going to go and ask him about, primarily this guy. And you know what's funny? I've gotten a lot of messages about when we're going to have Laley on, just so they can go and hear his thoughts on Federer. So you will not want to go and miss it. Tomorrow, I think at around noon Central Time, somewhere around there, noon, 1 o'clock.
Ask me. I
don't know either.
Here when you need me.
Well, we'll figure it out. But I hope you guys tune in. We appreciate you all for tuning in this afternoon and for the last few days. It's been a lot of fun. So until next time, and Panozzo, yeah, thanks a lot, buddy.